Camera action. What are we doing?
We're on our way over to Jon and Jadonna, lovely couple that are on C dock. We're on B dock
Of Whittaker Point Marina.
at Whittaker Point Marina, and we've become pretty good friends over the past week, getting to meet them, and as always in the cruising world. And we're gonna go do a tour of their boat. It's beautiful. They've done a really good job with the stuff they've taken care of so far. And Jon used to build cabinets, and his wife has a good attention to detail. I think she's a writer or something. They do writing for a magazine, or they own a magazine or something like that. But they're both gorgeous. It's really cool. So we're gonna go check it out. It's basically the exact same layout as our boat, but bigger. It's like way bigger.
It's wider. It feels, it looks a lot wider. Yeah, it's wider and longer, but it's almost the same setup. It just feels a lot more wider than ours.
Yeah. So like their aft cabin is like you can play basketball in. You know, one of those things.
I'm gonna face this way because of the wind.
So yeah, their boat's really cool. Anyway, it's a wonderful boat. They're wonderful people, and they have a ton of hospitality. In fact, you pretty much can't walk by their boat without them inviting you on, and usually feeding you or giving you something to drink or hanging out for a while. So very nice people. Grown to appreciate you very much.
All right.
Hoping that one day something gonna change. So yeah, they try so hard. They try so hard. Yeah. So
Oh, this is easy. I can grab up just easy.
Oh, anywhere, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect for climbing. They're called sailboards, or for you, they're called monkey bars.
So
Look at the little monkey. Those are called monkey bars, aren't they?
ashamed, think something new under the sun. You can't take back some things you already done. No. You blame things that you do on somebody else. No. But they all see is you need help. Oh, but still you try so hard to cover up your games. You try so hard. Hoping that one day something's gonna change.
Locomotive on the railroad. The woman early on too. I mean, this is like one of the first ever women engineers, and she said she could do anything as good as a man could do, except pee out the door of the locomotive when it was going down the road.
Jen, sit up. Nowadays she could. They have attachments for that.
Yeah, they do.
There's a little like funnel thing we have hanging off the back of our boat,
Yeah.
and that's the thing.
Yeah, let's use that. Oh,
You know what? You
Y'all know
pull
that.
that
She
in
power
inside
squat.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to attach and clean and all.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm John Robinson from Jacksonville, Florida. This is my sailboat, a 46-foot Morgan named Taya, and we're here in Oriental, North Carolina, where we were lucky enough to meet John Bump, who is also here on his boat, and we've spent the last couple of weeks doing repairs, and lucky for us, we met John. He's an incredible mechanic and electrician, and I'm convinced he can do almost anything that you would need done for your boat. None of my cockpit instruments worked.
Got them all done.
We've been limping along with them for several months, and John is installed a new voltmeter. He got the RPM gauge working. He rewired the whole pedestal, not the whole pedestal, but all the parts that we needed wiring for. We've got a, what else did he put in there? What else is down there? Oil pressure voltmeter also. And he had to put a new sending unit in at the engine to make all this work, and it's working perfectly. Besides that, I had a broken, on my panel box, I had a broken breaker, and my panel box is a nice panel box, but there's a lot to it. You have to dismantle the panel box to get to the breakers from the inside. It's pretty incredible. I guess I could have done it, but it was so nice to have John here, who's an experienced person in electronics. He has a degree in electronics to help us with all this work. I would highly recommend him. He was great to work with.
Action.
Hi, I'm John Robinson.
And I'm Jadonna Robinson.
This is the Taya.
And this is Bordeaux
And
Robinson.
this is Bordeaux Robinson.
Bordeaux.
Hey!
He's not.
So this is a Morgan 461, and it's a storage boat. This boat was formerly owned by a commander in the Navy whose wife was also a commander in the Navy, and when he retired from the Navy, he became a boat surveyor, and so his job when he bought this boat was a boat surveyor. So you can imagine that it was in good shape at the time, and they kept it in good shape. The next owners, and by the way, those folks did an Atlantic crossing in the boat. They did Nova Scotia. They did the Caribbean. The next owners did South America, so the boat has a storied history. There's a book written about the boat called Living a Dream, and so the boat's really obviously is one of the boats that everybody that has these boats knows about this boat. I chose it because it's big. We have 11 grandchildren and 5 children, and I wanted a boat that was big enough to take some of those with us when we traveled. So this is our shakedown cruise. This is the first time that Jadonna and I have ever taken this boat out for an extended journey, and we're loving it. I love the engine room of the boat, for one thing. Let me show you that.
We look for, babe.
It's a big flashlight.
Oh, right here.
Oh, here. So you can see it's a big Perkins engine. That's the original paint. The boat has been very well taken care of since day one. That's the diesel generator. That's the refrigerator and freezer, separate compressors up there. Of course, there's a hot water heater. The boat has maintenance records from the day that it was bought in 1980. The other thing that we really love about the boat is all the solar and wind power. It is, I'll get that. So we have 560 watts of solar, and we have a 400 watt wind generator. That wind generator and that solar power is enough to charge our bank of batteries. We have 8 house batteries and 1 cranking battery, but we can live off the hook 365 days a year without ever having to plug in or cut on the diesel generator. And our electrical system, our solar system will run the refrigerator and freezer 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It'll make 20 gallons of fresh water. We have a water maker a day. It runs all our lights, all our navigation equipment. We don't run the hot water heater, and we don't run the air conditioning, of course, when we're on the hook. But besides those two things, even the ice maker, the solar will run all of that. It's truly off the grid boat, and that's what we wanted. We love it.
You know what? Welcome aboard. Come here, baby. Hang on. You gotta come down. Come down to show off your house, right?
Jadonna's.
Wait, whose boat is it? Look at the camera.
Jadonna's.
Huh?
Jadonna's.
And
Bordeaux.
Yep, and Bordeaux's and John's right there.
Oh, there you go. And John. We're going to include him. So come on down. Well, you could give the tour.
So this is where the back of the room is where she built me a little my thing where I can like movie and stuff. And this is Bordeaux's thing.
So,
all right, hold on. Let her describe things, okay?
so in the kitchen and every wall in here, if you just kind of look at it, it's almost like a Berber kind of look, but it's actually made out of recycled plastic, which is totally water soluble. I mean, you just can wipe it down if you get soaking wet.
Hey, Jen.
And it,
While we're filming for a minute, can you not throw the ball, please? Or hang out back there with them just for a minute.
so anyway, it's water soluble, and it was like dirt cheap at Lowe's. So, and I did it throughout the whole entire boat because they had this ugly 40-year-old plastic kind of stuff on the walls. So as we walk through, you kind of see it. And I kind of love it over in, like, even all those little side panels and up in here, it's great stuff.
That's really pretty. I like this.
Go back there.
And then we only have one bathroom on this boat because they wanted to make the master much larger, so we're just dealing with one bath, which seems to be very sufficient. And of course that's the beaver. And I did all the wall coverings, you see, over and up under those panels, everything there.
I like this. It's very pretty. And the window covering.
Yes, that's my hippie material. I got in Charleston like 10 years ago. And these actual window ports were a major upgrade. They're stainless steel and they're amazing. And we didn't do that, but we were very thankful that someone did. And this is the navigational station and the desk, which is wonderful.
And these two are playing like monkeys.
Exactly. That brings a lot of laughter and happiness to a boat.
He was standing there just a second ago and going,
Oh yeah, he's like, let me jump up on that boat.
All right, hey Jen, can you play with him up here for a minute while we do back there?
can I put the ball?
Yeah, but try to keep it in this area, okay? Because it's very loud in a boat for a little camera. Thank you.
So you kind of got that in today. That's the new addition is that faucet.
This is what they've been working on.
That's a great thing. John was asking me about this today. This
Juicer?
Do it. Yeah, but it's a magnetic
Oh, the strip, yeah.
strip that just it holds the knives. And he's like, even when you're out there traveling and stuff, does it? And it's never.
No?
We never had a knife fall off. Anything. That stuff is pretty incredible. And these beautiful teak steps, John spent about 40 hours on, and they're very beautiful. So when you're traveling and living aboard for a while, these bunks are provisions. So that's
The provision corner.
a great place. Instead of having bunk beds, we've got provision corners.
And this is the back.
And the master,
They're beautiful.
we love this. And that's where an extra bathroom would have been, but we enjoy so much more having all the space. This actually comes down and makes a bed. We've never done that, and we don't even plan to ever do that.
That is my arm, sir.
He doesn't care.
He's like, play with me, play with me.
Would you like a glass of wine?
No, thank you.
Would
Appreciate
you
it.
like a water or a Gatorade?
I am great. Thank you.
10 years ago, Jadonna and I befriended this elderly man who was a college professor who lived on the West Coast most of his life, and he lived on a sailboat for over 30 years. He was crippled, and we made friends with him. I really liked the guy. We used to drink with him, and the last time he went sailing, we took him. Had to pick him up and put him in the boat. I could just see the joy on his face, and several weeks later, he called me, and I went over to his house, had a couple of drinks, and he said, "I have something for you." And I said, "Well, what is this?" He said, "Well, this is an octant. It's a precursor to the sextant. It's in perfect working order. It was verified by the Maritime Museum in Greenwich, England, in perfect working order. And I have the letter where my father passed it on to me, and I want you to have that letter." And there's this handwritten letter that we have, and the documentation from Greenwich, England, where his father hand wrote a letter to him when he passed this down to his son. And I said, "This is too much. I can't take this gift." And he said, "No, I don't have anybody, and you have to take it," because he knew I loved sailing and I would use it. And so I took it, and I said, "I'll take it in that case." And so here is the original box. This is the label. Now, I don't think this is the manufacturer's label. I think this label is from the maritime shop in Rotterdam. It says Rotterdam right here, that originally sold it in 1800. The last voyage that I know, this was the sole, the stories this thing could tell, but the last voyage that I know this was used as the sole source of navigation was from Hawaii to San Diego, and my friend was aboard. He was the navigator and the captain of the boat when it made its last journey. I'm learning how to do it. I'm learning celestial navigation, but it is absolutely an impeccable instrument. You screw the viewfinder in here. You know, you get your sunshades out of the way. You can take sun sightings with it, and it works like a like a modern sextant does. But this one was made 220 years ago. It still works perfectly. It's one of my favorite possessions.
That's so cool.
There's a letter that also came with it.
So this is John Robinson again, here in Oriental, North Carolina, aboard our 46-foot Morgan, the Taya, and John Bump, who we've talked about previously, also installed this beautiful faucet for me. It was quite the job. As you know, on a sailboat, things are hard to get to. Just getting the nut off the old faucet to get it down was a feat that I could not have done by myself. And John was able to get in there and figure out. We pretty much destroyed the old faucet, but we weren't reusing it anyway to get it off. But he got it off, and we got this beautiful thing installed. It's just one of the many things that John Bump has done for us while we're here. He's also here on his sailboat with his wife and his son. I highly recommend John Bump. If you need some work done and you need somebody that you can trust to do a good job, John Bump's the guy.